You are now watching the True Mets Talk podcast, talking New York Mets baseball 24/7, 365 with your host, CP.
In the shallow right field, stumbling start for Stewart. It's drilled to deep left field by Alvarez, and that's going to go away. 4 straight games for the second time in his. He's homered at 4.
What's up, Mets fans? It's your boy CP, and welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast right here on the CPNYSports YouTube channel. As always, we are talking Mets baseball today. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. Hover over the icon if you are new here, and comment your thoughts and opinions down below about the state of this New York Mets team going into the 6-game homestand. Obviously, coming off of a series split in the London Baseball Classic. If you missed the Mets Roundtable that went live on this channel, as well as everyone else's on Sunday night, talking a little bit more in depth about that series split versus the Philadelphia Phillies in London. Make sure you go check that out on the channel. This is going to be a very brief podcast episode because honestly, we are going live tonight for the pregame show. Rob and I are going to be going on the Amazing Mets pregame show 6:30 to break down this upcoming matchup and this upcoming series versus the Miami Marlins. But also, I'm going to be live on the postgame as well, talking about the results of game 1 tonight because I feel good. And you can call me crazy or you could agree. Let me know in the comment section. Like I said, I feel good about this Mets team going into the 6-game homestand. 3 against the Miami Marlins, who are 1-7 in their last 8, and then 3 against the San Diego Padres at home. And they are a team that are directly in front of the New York Mets in the wild card standings. Obviously, the New York Mets are only 3.5 games with all things considered that have went wrong for this team in the early goings of 2024. Injuries, inconsistent play, the whole 9 yards. Only 3.5 games out of the wild card. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear wild card. They want to see better baseball. They want to see this Mets team prove to us that the organization should not be sellers at the deadline, which is about a month and a half away. Lot of time for things to play out before those decisions need to be made. And when you talk about the reinforcements of a Francisco Alvarez coming back soon, of an Edwin Diaz that has pitched in a rehab game since going on the IL and his return being imminent as well for this team. Coupled to the fact that, let's face it, the Mets have been playing at least a glimpse of better baseball here over the last 5 games. Now, I will say, because I said this on the roundtable, this Mets team was a complete opposite version of what we saw in DC. DC was the cream of the crop Mets team that we saw. Great approaches at the plate. Good pitching, David Peterson and Luis Severino. And all that didn't seem to transfer over in the London Baseball Classic versus one of the best teams in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies. But guess what? The Mets found a way to split. I wanted a split going into those 2 games, and that's exactly what the New York Mets gave me. And that's enough for me to be here on June 11th, 2024, hoping that this 6-game homestand is the start of something special, maybe a special run from this Mets team. And yes, you are free to call me an overly positive Mets fan. But right now, I'm rooting for this team to get back into it. All the teams that are between the New York Mets right now, where they lie in the standings, versus actually being in one of those wild card positions, I believe the Mets are better than each and every one of those teams. I truly do. So like I said, can the New York Mets build on momentum, knowing that they have reinforcements coming back? One of those reinforcements, unfortunately, isn't Kodai Senga, but nonetheless, it's your starting catcher and it's your closer, who struggled to begin the season, but with the way the bullpen has been shaking out, they badly need his presence back into the thick of things here because honestly, it's been a very tough task to close out ball games in his absence. And we saw that in the Phillies series. And I don't want to get into the X's and O's of what we saw in the Phillies series. Obviously, Sean Manaea didn't have his best stuff. Starling Marte letting that ball drop in right field. We talked all about this on the Roundtable podcast. And in game 2, back and forth game, I honestly was ready to call it quits until the Mets tied it up because the offense just looked lifeless to begin that game 2 versus Taijuan Walker. Hanging curveball after hanging curveball being watched by the Mets lineup. But what a play by Luis Torrens, who you all know is my backup catcher for this team if they choose to carry 2 catchers when Francisco Alvarez is back. What a play to end the game. And I really do hope, this has to be said, I really do hope the Mets remember what Garrett Stubbs did to end that game at home plate. Because honestly, that is a baseball play. That is a baseball play a decade ago. By today's MLB rules, he was given a path to slide at home plate, and he chose to redirect his body right into the legs of Luis Torrens when he was already out. I get it, you want to break up the double play, but today's MLB rules to protect the catchers at home plate specifically are there for a reason. And Garrett Stubbs chose not to care. But nonetheless, bygones are bygones. It's a split. We'll talk about the Phillies later on when we see them again. The New York Mets are going to this homestand with Tyler McGill pitching tonight versus Jesus Luzardo. They have David Peterson coming off of a tremendous outing in DC versus the Nationals in game 2, and Luis Severino, who went 8 strong himself in DC in game 3. The Miami Marlins are 1-7 in their last 8. And this is a perfect time to sweep a series if you're the New York Mets. That's what I'm expecting. Nothing more, nothing less. Or I should say nothing less because they're not playing 4 games. So there's nothing more to be had. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm curious. What's it going to take for you all if you're not already bought back into this team? What's it going to take for you in this homestand to buy back into this team? And you can answer this question not only by commenting in the comment section down below, but also going to the community tab of the YouTube channel and answering this poll that you see right here on your screen. How many games out of 6 do the Mets need to win for you all to be bought back in? Because I'm feeling good. I felt good going into that national series, and they got the sweep. I wanted the split versus the Phillies. That's what they gave us. And now I'm asking for at least 4 out of 6 in this homestand. And we all know the perpetual home struggles that the Mets have at Citi Field. We are talking about the last 10-game homestand being that crucial turning point for this team. They went 3-7 and they laid an egg. How do you respond if you're the New York Mets? I'm very curious because this is going to tell me a lot as a fan. So like I said, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I wanted to get a general vibe check. This is a very brief video. There's no rocket science analysis coming out of this video. That's going to be saved for later on today when we go for the pregame and the postgame after game 1 versus the Marlins. And we are in a little bit of an unusual spot. 8 games under 500 for our New York Mets. Hasn't been good so far, but they're staying afloat, and that's what matters in today's MLB, to make a run because it is only June 11th. And I am not the one usually to make these time excuses, but when people start to talk about the deadline, like Mets fans and in this fan base in general, everybody on social media, all the analysts, even Steve Cohen himself with that deleted tweet, you leave yourselves with a lot of room for things to play out over the next month and a half. So like I said, Amazing Mets pregame show going down tonight. Time is TBD, either 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. Hit the notifications button to get notified when we go live. Follow for more updates at CPNYSports on X and Instagram. Time updates will be over there. And I'll be going live solo tonight. Rob can't make it for the post-game show to break down game 1 and talk about this team. So don't miss out. Like I said, the Mets have a chance to buy more people than not back in with this homestand, to put the home struggles behind them. This is the time to do it. Let's go Mets. See you all later on the channel. Peace.
Thank you for watching the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure you're tapping on that notifications button and checking out all the latest content on the channel. Thank you.